Hi, this is Rock. We're going to look at sheet portability and names. And we're going to do this using some band names. I'm putting together a little bit of a music festival in this small town called Woodstock. And so I'm going to pull together some bands. I've got this form that I want the bands to fill out, put their band name, maybe some albums so I can see if they're any good, and a contact name, phone number, the songs that they plan to play, the length of the songs so we can see the total length of the set and figure out where they might fit into the 3-day program. It's going to be a time of peace and music. What I want to show here is how you can use this form and send it out just as its own thing, and then also bring the data back in when you receive it from the different bands. I've created this form and I've created a version of it by just saying move or copy and going to a new sheet or new book, create a copy, and then if I click OK, it creates just this new thing that I can call band, and I can send it out via email as a form that they can send back to me via email if that's the way we want to do it. The point being that I'm going to be getting back these different forms, and what do I do with those forms once I get them back? Before I send this out, I'm going to take this band name and define it. Click New. I'm going to call this band name, and I'm going to have the scope of it be just band, just this one sheet I'm working in. And it refers to cell D5. So I'm going to say OK there, close that, and then send out this single sheet. Okay. So now we're in the situation where I've got the forms back. I've added all these spreadsheets that are called band into this one folder called bands here. And as I added, since they were all named the same thing, they've come in and they've got these different numbers. Microsoft Windows automatically gave these bands these numbers. So what I can do is I can open up all of these. If I hit Control O and select the 1st through the 33rd, that's how many I've received, and say open. It's opened all these up, and one of them is band named Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Goodness, they've got enough for an hour-long set here, given the song length. A couple of albums, all right, we'll have to check those out. What we're going to do is come back here and create a list of the bands. Now that I've got these open, I can go to our first band, got it back, Richie Havens. Okay, so what I want to do is take this. There are two ways to do this. One is by bringing all the different sheets, all the forms, all these tabs into my existing file. So let's start with doing it that way, and then I'll show you another way to do it by just leaving the files outside the sheet. Before I bring it in, I'm going to go ahead and delete the original one from this. Get that out of here. Because when I bring it in from the first band, Richie Havens, I'm going to move or copy, bring that into this, move it to the end, create a copy. I'm going to say OK. And now I've got it in here. And the next one that I bring in will automatically make it band 2. So I'm going to bring in band 2 through band 33. Okay, so now I have all the band data in here, and let me just for consistency's sake rename this to be band 1. Okay, so we've got band 1 through 33 in here, and if I go to, for example, band 30, it's got the songs in there, got their albums, got their contact number. And what I want to do is pull the data, for example, the band name, into this one band data sheet. So I'm going to put together a formula that brings in that information. So first of all, I'll put a sequence here and give it 33 rows since that's how many bands I have. And then I'm going to have a by row of this array, this sequence here. And I'll do then a lambda, and I'll say B for band. Now let's build an indirect concatenation of the reference to that particular band name on each sheet. How do we do that? So we use an indirect concatenate. The first thing we need, since we're going to build this whole reference to the band name, let me show you a shortcut first. I'm going to pause this and just show you a quick shortcut, is to go to the first band and click on the band name and see how it's not referring to D5, it's referring to the name, band name, since that's what we defined that before we sent it out. We defined this as a name in Name Manager. So it's referring to band 1. This is the reference to this sheet. Band 1, band name. Now notice that it's got the open quote, single quote to encapsulate this tab name. Since there's a space, it's got to have those single quotes to tell Excel this is the whole sheet name. And since it's a different sheet, it's going to have the exclamation point as the reference. Say, here's the sheet name that I want to get it from, and then here's the, instead of the cell reference, it's the cell name, which is just band name. All right, since we set up the name in Name Manager, that name, band name, to be at the scale of the single sheet, each of these sheets has a band name in it. So this is the reference. If I hit enter, you'll see it brings Richie Havens, and we're going to use this information to build this concatenation. But for example, if I go to band 30, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and I click on this, see how it says band name. This is also band name. It's just the band name that is for band 30. So coming back here, let's use this information to keep building this. And I'm going to put a pause on that one so that we can see the actual wording of that. And then let's keep building this formula. So we're going to go for each of these 33 rows. We're going to go down and we're going to do a concatenation. The start of the concatenation needs to be this reference, so it's a single quote. As we've discussed before, that's char 39. And then the next thing it wants to refer to is the tab name. So we can build that tab name by typing band space open parentheses, and now we want to concatenate the 1 from this. So that is because of our lambda referring to B8 with the parameter of B. That's a B right here. And then we'll continue by closing that parentheses, putting an exclamation point for the reference to refer off the sheet. And now we're going to put band name to finish out that reference. So now I'm going to close the concat, close the indirect, close the lambda, close the BYROW, and then hit enter. Oh, I forgot the closing char 39 here. So I'm going to close that with a quote, put in char 39, and then start the quote again with band name. There we go. Now it's brought in the band names from each of these. So that's one way to do it. I'm going to say this is from tabs. So we went and got them by bringing them in as tabs in this sheet, which is a completely valid way to do it. But it did take a while for me to open up and move all of those tabs from where they were. In the real world, what I would do is create a macro to bring those in. I'm going to show you another way to do the same thing without actually needing to bring those tabs in. You can leave them in the folder, leave them in those files, but then once you bring the data in, you can copy and paste the values so that you don't need to keep that as a live reference. So in this one, let's do the band names from files. We can just refer to those files that are out here in this. Let's do this. Let's open up one of these and see what that reference needs to be. So I'm going to come back here and let's do this. I'm going to say equals, jump over here to this, hit enter. See how this built it? I'm going to copy this and put that over here as a reference for us for how we build our lookup. Let's try to do the same thing we were doing here. We're going to do a BYROW, and I'm going to grab this array, do a lambda, B for band name, and now I'm going to say indirect concat. We'll start with this char 39, so we can get rid of that. And then now we need this band going up through there, and then we need B to replace that 1. So now we can get rid of that 1, keep all this up through here, and then I'm going to say char 39, not going to forget this time. And then I'm going to put in quotes this. I've already done the char 39. Going to put in quotes the exclamation point and the band name reference. Now let's try that. Close the concat, close the indirect, close the lambda, close the BYROW, hit enter. The reason these give a reference error is that I don't have them open. I have the Jimi Hendrix one open, and I have the Richie Havens one open. But let me go open up all those. I need 2 through 32. So we're going to hit Control O, click 2 through 32 and say open. And as soon as all of these open, Excel can reach into there and bring the reference over. So now we've got all these in there. The pros and cons of doing that kind of thing using tabs versus doing that kind of thing using the files. If you just want to extract the data, copy these and paste the values, then you don't have to have those other files open. You've got the data. But if what you want to do is have all of those tabs brought in, then you need to go through the trouble of making a copy of those tabs and bringing them into your sheet. Otherwise, if you just want the data, you can do that just by opening the files once, and once they're open, do a copy, paste the values, and now you can go ahead and close those other files and you still have the data. So that's sheet portability and names. Next, we'll be looking at macro multipliers. See you then.